They won't tell you this outright, not because it's a harmless idea, but because it's the kind of truth that rewires a man from the inside out. It's quiet, it's subtle, but once it clicks, it changes everything. You stop dancing for attention. You stop bending to moods. You stop leaking energy into endless explanations. Something in you becomes still, and that stillness is dangerous. Not dangerous like a threat, dangerous like a revelation. Because once a man understands it, every game, every emotional hook, every carefully planted test starts to lose its power. The script that kept him chasing suddenly reads like a bad play, and he no longer auditions. Here's the core of it: presence over performance, purpose over approval, control only what you can control, release everything else. The trap they hope you'll never name. Most men are trained, quietly and visibly, to perform, to entertain, to impress, to fill every silence with proof that they are worth loving. It starts small. The extra text, the over-explained message, the frantic rush to fix her bad mood. It feels like care. It smells like love. But it's desperation wearing cologne. Women feel it instantly. Neediness isn't hidden by good grammar or clever jokes. It leaks out in your breath, in the way your eyes search for approval. It says, "Please validate me. Please confirm I'm enough." And that energy, no matter how kind your words, repels. Stoicism slices through this with a single blade. Focus only on what is yours to command. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Everything else is smoke. Her silence? Not yours. Her approval? Not yours. Her unpredictable moods? Absolutely not yours. The moment you stop trying to manage what you can't control, the leash snaps, and suddenly you are free. Presence is a new power. Presence is not texting her every hour. Presence is not planning elaborate dates just to prove you care. Presence is the quiet gravity of a man rooted in his own purpose. It's the eye contact that doesn't flicker, the breath that doesn't race, the stillness that says, "I'm already whole." You don't chase. You don't beg. You simply are. This is what ancient Stoics called ataraxia, inner calm that no storm can touch. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you'll find strength. A woman feels this strength long before you speak. It's in your posture. It's in the way you walk into a room without asking permission to exist. It's magnetic because it cannot be manipulated. Why she tests? Understand this. Most tests are not cruelty. They are instinct. A woman presses to see if your center holds. She leans on the door to see if it's locked. If it swings open with the slightest push, she knows she can't lean on you. Respect fades. Love soon follows. But when you stand in silence, when you hold your frame without aggression, without apology, something shifts. She either rises to meet the standard or drifts away. Either outcome serves you. Because a man who guards his peace loses nothing by letting go of what was never truly his. Detachment is not coldness. Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotional ice. It isn't. It's fire under control. It's loving fully while refusing to be enslaved by that love. You can care and still say no. You can feel attraction and still walk away. You can forgive and never return. This is not bitterness. It is clarity. It is the strength to act from principle rather than impulse. It is freedom, the shift she fears. When you stop seeking validation, a quiet panic begins on the other side. Not because you're cruel, but because the game is over. The pauses in her text no longer trigger a chase. The mood swings no longer dictate your day. Your happiness is no longer rented from her attention. You become unpredictable, not reckless, unreadable. And that unpredictability is lethal to manipulation. She can no longer forecast your reactions. She can no longer steer your emotions. The script she relied on disintegrates in her hands. Your mission is the filter. A man without purpose is a man easily distracted. But when your life is aimed at something larger than approval, a craft, a vision, a legacy, everything changes. You build not to impress her, but to honor your own name. You train not for her gaze, but for your future. And ironically, This is when attraction multiplies. Because nothing is more compelling than a man who doesn't need to be compelling. Opportunities begin to find you. Right people drift into your orbit. The wrong ones quietly exit. Your mission becomes the gatekeeper. Only the aligned pass through. Silence speaks louder. You don't need to argue. You don't need to write late-night essays to prove your heart. Distance is a language of self-respect. When a boundary is crossed, you don't shout. You step back. You let absence deliver the message. That silence is not emptiness. It is presence so full it demands recognition. It is the sound of a man who values his own peace more than her opinion. And in that silence, every manipulation is revealed for what it is. The Stoic man, he is not flawless. He is focused. He is not cold. He is composed. He does not chase. He moves forward. He loves with depth but never bargains for affection. He stands in truth but never performs for applause. He controls only what is his to control. His mind, his choices, his actions, everything else, every mood, every test, every shifting desire, he lets drift away like smoke. That is presence. That is power. That is the freedom women fear and secretly crave. A man who seeks constant validation is like a ship with no anchor. Every gust of attention pulls him off course. Every wave of silence throws him into panic. He checks his phone like it's a life support machine. He sends the extra text. He rewrites messages 3 times to sound just right. He bends. He performs. And in doing so, he trades power for proximity. Presence is the opposite. Presence is the anchor. It is the quiet strength of a man who knows that the ocean will always have waves, and who builds a vessel strong enough to ride them without clinging to every ripple. Stoicism calls it control of the self, not control of the world, not control of the woman, only the self. Epictetus said it clearly, some things are up to us and some are not. Your thoughts, yours. Your actions, yours. Your boundaries, yours. Her approval, never was. Her feelings, never will be. Once you absorb this, panic evaporates. When you stop performing, something curious happens when you stop trying to impress. At first, the people who fed on your neediness react. They prod. They test. They ask what's wrong. They push to see if the old pattern still works. It doesn't. You don't explain. You don't defend. You don't rush to fix emotions that were never yours to manage. You simply stay rooted. And in that stillness, the truth shows itself. Some will drift away because your energy no longer fuels their drama. Good. Let them go. Others will rise to meet you, adjusting their behavior because they feel the unspoken boundary. Better. Those are the relationships worth keeping. Women will never publicly campaign for men to be emotionally independent. Why? Because emotional independence breaks the system. The system thrives when you chase, when you compete, when you prove, when you explain, when you trade your piece of their attention. But when you stand firm in your own worth, you become the rare man who doesn't bite the bait. And paradoxically, this is the man women find hardest to forget. Think about it. The man who doesn't need to be liked walks into a room and everyone notices. Not because he's the loudest, not because he's the richest, but because his energy speaks before he does. It says, I am enough. I am whole. I cannot be moved by flattery or fear. That kind of presence is priceless because it can't be bought or manipulated. It must be cultivated, alone in silence, in the discipline of daily life. The Stoic practice of presence. How do you build it? Not with fancy pickup lines, not with endless alpha tricks, but with small, relentless practices. Morning stillness. Sit before the day begins. Breathe. Remind yourself, only my mind is mine. Daily reflection. At night, ask, what today was within my control? What was not? Did I guard my peace or give it away? Purpose over pleasure. Work on something larger than yourself. A craft, a mission, a skill. Pleasure follows purpose. Purpose never follows pleasure. These habits forge the calm center women feel, but can't name. They feel it in your steady gaze. They feel it when you listen without rushing to fill the silence. They feel it when you stay composed as their emotions rise and fall like weather. The test of silence. Imagine this. She pulls back. She delays a reply. She drops a comment meant to trigger jealousy. The old you would spiral, double text, explain, demand. The stoic you pauses, breathes, chooses. Maybe you respond calmly. Maybe you say nothing. Either way, your choice is deliberate. You control your action, not her reaction. That pause, your ability to remain unmoved, is the essence of stoic strength. It is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is mastery. Purpose is your shield. A man on mission is untouchable. His work, his growth, his discipline become the fortress around his heart. Not a wall that keeps love out, but a structure that keeps chaos from moving in. Women feel the difference instantly. When your life is rich with purpose, you don't orbit around a single relationship. You are not waiting by the phone because your schedule is already full of building, learning, and creating. Your silence isn't a tactic. It's a natural byproduct of a life that doesn't pause for manipulation. And here's the paradox. The less you need her, the more she desires you. Not because you play games, but because independence is rare. It signals strength. It signals safety. It signals that if she joins your life, it will be by choice, not by necessity. The boundary of self-respect. Boundaries are not ultimatums. They are quiet statements of self-respect. You don't need to announce them. You live them. If she repeatedly disrespects your time, you reduce access to your time. If she mocks your values, you stop inviting her into your inner world. If she plays with commitment, you keep building your life without waiting for her decision. No yelling, no lectures, just action, because action teaches more than words ever could. Epictetus wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Your boundary is your embodiment. It tells the world how to treat you. The beauty of detachment. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the refusal to be enslaved by it. You can love deeply and still walk away when respect is gone. You can care fiercely and still protect your peace. You can feel desire and still remain sovereign. This is the highest stoic art. To participate fully in life while depending on nothing outside your control. When you reach this state, rejection loses its sting. Attention loses its thrill. You enjoy them both when they come, but you are not defined by either. This makes you unshakable. When the world adjusts, the moment you shift from performance to presence, the world rearranges itself. The wrong women disappear. The right ones lean in. Opportunities align with your purpose. Even your friendships evolve. Some will accuse you of being distant. Some will say you've changed. They're right. You have changed. You have reclaimed the only territory that was ever truly yours. Your mind, your energy, your life. Part 3. Living the Stoic Blueprint. A Stoic man does not retreat from life. He engages fully, but on his terms. He builds. He loves. He creates. But he never surrenders the steering wheel of his own soul. He understands that storms will come, breakups, betrayals, disappointments. But he also understands that storms cannot sink a ship whose captain remains calm. Women sense this long before they can explain it. They feel it in the way you carry yourself, the way you handle conflict, the way you remain steady when others panic. This steadiness is not coldness. It is leadership. It is the quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you will remain yourself. This is the life that frightens manipulators and attracts the worthy, not because you dominate, not because you play games, but because you live in alignment with what is real. And once you taste this alignment, there is no going back. The quiet revolution of a stoic man. At the heart of all of this, every lesson, every boundary, every practice, lies a single unshakable truth. Your life is yours, not hers, not the crowd's, not the algorithms that reward attention and panic. Yours. The shift from performance to presence is not a dating tactic. It's a spiritual uprising. It is a man reclaiming the territory of his own mind and refusing to let fear or flattery steer his ship. It is the end of begging for affection, the end of performing for applause, the end of measuring your worth by the reaction of another person. When you live this way, relationships change, but more importantly, You change. Her silence no longer controls your mood. Her approval no longer determines your value. Her tests no longer dictate your actions. You begin to love without attachment, to care without dependence, to give without expectation. This is not coldness. It is clarity. You can look a woman in the eye, feel deep affection, and still walk away if respect is absent. You can enjoy attention without craving it. You can desire connection without surrendering your soul. The world will notice. Some will call you distant. Others will call you intimidating. The wise will simply call you free. And freedom is what Stoicism has always promised. Freedom from the tyranny of what you cannot control. Freedom from the endless chase for validation. Freedom to build, to love, to create, to stand firm in the quiet power of a man who knows who he is. That is the man women cannot manipulate. That is the man opportunities cannot ignore. That is the man life itself bends toward. So guard your peace. Honor your purpose. Speak when necessary. Remain silent when powerful. And remember, you were never born to orbit someone else's moods. You were born to build a life so solid, so present, that nothing outside you can shake it. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is a Stoic path. And once you walk it, you will never again trade your freedom for fleeting approval. Be still, be grounded, be dangerous in the most sacred way.